Hi, I'm AnalysisWX.com's weather analyst Andrew Fleck. Just here Friday's late night special model discussion, and it is a special model discussion because it is late night. I cannot do one this afternoon, but I was able to still pitch in one later tonight. We're going to talk about the main pattern that seems to be still consistent on the models, and even talk about a storm that a lot of folks have been pretty much flying on wings about, and maybe clarify a few things on that. But we talked about what the storms before this trough would be coming in and doing, and the effects it would have on it. We talked about what the temperatures would do. Well, we're going to talk about what affects the pattern the most, and that is blocking. So we're going to actually go into the next imagery here very quickly. And before I blab my mouth and just talk about what you guys might look at and say, what is this? Cool colors, but what is it? Well, what this is called the GFS ensembles, temperatures. And so anything to this X below or to the right, even to the left, this means that you're going to then have, more of a drier portion over the east. When you have the same thing over the west, you'll have sometimes this from about the central United States. And as you can see here, these two are connected, and what we had this past week was more of a drier pattern, a warmer pattern to say the least. Now, going a little further ahead, looking at next week, we see that now this starts to look a little different now, because we start to see this go positive across the western United States, and this go really positive over the eastern United States. And this is actually getting very close to off below Greenland, or just east of Greenland. And remember, I told you when pretty much you have those purple dark colors below or to the right of Greenland, it's very warm across the east. Well, when you have it very warm and very dry across Greenland, or you have a positive, more of a favorable lighter colors up there, that's when you're going to start to have darker colors across the east, which is indicating colder weather, stormier weather. And when you have these two split, what then happens is this whole mother surge right here comes dipping right in between, and that's where you can really get a good punch of cold weather, snowy weather, in some cases depending on the month. And we do believe that that is going to be occurring mid next week, maybe before Thanksgiving, maybe after Thanksgiving. It's going to be something to watch. Now, if we go into the longer range, this is when you start to kind of look a little less of this, because we are more in the longer range. But still, there's nothing wrong of looking at the longer range. Gives you a good suggestion. Sometimes you can learn from it. And we see here that you start to have these highs start to come back together again. But they still are weak in this gap here. So you will be able to have some cold air still leak, into this area here. And there's a block, so it's going to be very hard for this to move off. So what that means is maybe next week, maybe by next weekend, you might be able to have some stormy, colder, and maybe snowy weather. And that's one thing we're going to talk about on the next imagery here, because a lot of people have been talking about the big snowstorm possible for your late December, the Thanksgiving snow. Everybody's jumping up and down on wings right now about this storm. Well, what we're going to do is first just kind of give you the realistic points of things, and just kind of start you off there first. Well, what we first have is the trough coming down. We know that the ensemble saw it. We have two areas, of energy coming down. We have our area 1 and area 2. Those two are going to come down, and to give you a better illustration, we're going to go to the vorticity map here. And the vorticity map here, we're going to give the 18Z GFS and the 12Z GFS. If you don't know by now, the 6Z this morning, 12Z this morning, they had a snowstorm for the East Coast. 18Z comes out, it's totally different. It has a snowstorm for the fishies out in the ocean. And so what this means, and because of this, we're going to first look at the 18Z is, the trough comes down, yes, and it only comes down to about here. So you have is the millibars lying out across or off the coast more. You don't really have too much of a deep amplification of the trough. And this energy here would be that culprit to do it, but it lags behind. And that's why you had all that precip off the coast. Now, the one thing that we saw here was the 12Z. Totally different. Totally different. Look at that. 18Z, 12Z. What's the difference? The difference is this energy here. a lot stronger. That primary trough all the way down here, it's amplifying the trough, and look at how close these millibars are to land now. And when you have that energy coming down, that's when you can get the snow across your coastal areas. So if you want a storm, or you don't want a storm, well, if you don't want one, go for the 18Z. You have a less amplified trough here, and you'll have all the millibars off the coast. Okay? If you want a storm, hope that that second primary energy connects onto that primary trough, or that energy, and you have a deeper trough, which means you can have some precip roll up more and be able to stay inland more. So all in all, though, it's very far off. It shows, because looking at 18Z here and 12Z here, when you have a major difference like that, I mean, that's awful hard to go and start making snow maps and anything of that sort because of how different. If that were to be short range, I would really be scratching my head, but it's medium range, it's long range, so pretty much you're not going to be seeing much of any consistency for that maybe after the weekend. So I would be really looking into that maybe after this weekend pulls through, but we'll still talk about it. It's an interesting topic. But again, this is pretty much it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning, on your Saturday morning, about if any consistency has pulled into the storm and how the pattern's looking. So I'm U.S. weather analyst Andrew Fleck. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday night, and I'll talk to you on Saturday.